Welcome to our earlier meditation session and longer meditation of 45 minutes. And I'm very happy to be doing this with you and experiencing this. And so to introduce this meditation, I would like to say that the difference between someone who is a beginner in meditation and someone who's practiced a long time doesn't have to be very different. If both people are practicing the meditation simply, there's something about the simplicity of practice which is valuable for those who are beginning and is part of the full realization of those who mature in the practice. And there's something wondrous about being with the breathing in as simple way as possible. It's a wonderful challenge to do so because what gets revealed are all the ways that we make it more complicated. All the ways that we have high expectations, demands for how it should be, the ways in which we judge ourselves as things aren't quite right, we're doing it wrong, ideals that we're trying to live by, or things we're trying to escape and to avoid experiencing. And slowly over practice, the movement is to greater and greater simplicity, which means that when we're sitting meditating with the breathing, it is very forgiving that we're allowed to be as we are in this simplicity. And the art, the key, is a simplicity of awareness, just to be aware. And that is enough. And so to be aware of what's happening in the moment and to be with your breathing. Anyway, so that's what I'd like to suggest this morning, is a simple attention to breathing. So, to assume a meditation posture that you might be able to be stable and still for the duration of the sitting, and to gently close your eyes and to then simply be aware of your body. Be aware of how the body is. And then within this body, take a few long, slow, deep breaths, partly as an embodied reminder that for this time sitting here, we're going to sit in the middle of our body, allowing it to be as it is, breathing. Breathing in and breathing out. And as you take a deep breath in, then on the exhale, relax the body. In a certain way, tension in the body involves our making things more complicated than they need to be. And so if it's easy to relax the shoulders, relax. let go, soften. And then to let your breathing return to normal. And again, as you exhale, to continue to relax places that are easy to soften. Relax the belly, letting the belly hang forward, down. Again, softening some in the chest, in the shoulders. Also maybe relaxing the face. And as you exhale, relaxing the mind, any sensations of pressure, tightness, agitation that's connected to thinking or to the brain. And then in now just settling in to the experience of the body breathing by finding where in your body it seems easiest or perhaps even most pleasant to experience breathing. For some people it's in the belly, some people in the chest, some people in the nostrils, the air goes in and out. And not to take the experiencing of breathing for granted. Experiencing breathing is the meeting. It's a place where awareness and the body meet. It's the meeting place of awareness and the body breathing. It's a bit wondrous, the simplicity of experiencing breathing. And then to hang in there with the breathing. To trust the simplicity of experiencing the breathing. And if anything takes you away from that or distracts from that, maybe take a little bit deeper breath and gently, lovingly begin again with your breathing. Appreciating that nothing else needs to be figured out or thought about, or that for now, meditation unfolds with a simple experience of the body breathing, being aware of the breathing. As you're with your breathing, you might, in a simple way, for a few breaths, notice that part of the inhale where the inhale just feels like it's doing you, it's doing itself. It started and it's just going to continue in a natural, clear way. Just that's what's unfolding, it's the inhale. Maybe it doesn't start at the beginning of it, but at some point the inhale just is on a roll. It's just going to happen. And when that happens, allow for it. The simplicity of awareness is the simplicity of just allowing that experience to come to awareness. And notice in the exhale, that point in the exhale, where exhaling is just happening on its own. It's gonna complete itself if we allow it. allowing ourselves to be aware of breathing in and breathing out. If your mind is thinking a lot, you might very, very softly in your mind say to yourself the thought in as you breathe in and out as you breathe out. Just to give the thinking mind something to do that keeps you on track with the breathing. As you breathe in, receive the inhale, the experience of inhale, with an attitude of allowing it to arrive, allowing it to unfold. Maybe noticing that part of the inhale that's doing itself. As you exhale, receive the experience of exhaling, allowing it to proceed, allowing that sense, that part of the exhale that's doing itself. It's going to continue to the end of exhaling. And for a few breaths, as you inhale, notice the thinking mind. If there's pressure or tension or energy there, notice it on the inhale. On the exhale, relax, soften the thinking mind. So the pressure to think is not so strong. Sometimes relaxing the thinking mind, letting go of thoughts, can be like making more room for the breathing. And then to allow the breathing to fill that room, Fill the space of awareness. And then, without thinking about it, in what way might you experience the simplicity of breathing, the simplicity of awareness of breathing? Relax, open up, and allow yourself to experience the fullness of breathing, the fullness of how you are experiencing breathing in the simplest way, without any thoughts, thinking about the experience, just experiencing it, feeling it, embodied awareness of breathing. And then coming to the end of this sitting, I'd like to mention that for those of you who are new, that we end this sitting with a variation of what in Buddhism is called dedication of merit. It's a way of offering up whatever benefit we receive through the meditation out into the world to benefit the world itself. And it's a little bit the principle of a song my kids sang in kindergarten that had the refrain that went something like that if you have any love, give it away, give it away, give it away, because you'll only have more. You'll end up having more. So this idea of letting go and offering to the world whatever calm or subtleness, whatever known or unknown benefits we receive from meditation, is an opening up, a letting go, a releasing that continues the letting go, releasing, settling of meditation itself. And doing so without having any boundaries or barriers, maybe, for our goodwill. And so directing our attention now out into the world, opening ourselves, turning ourselves inside out. And may whatever benefit, goodness, merit that has come from our practice together, may we share it with others, both knowingly, intentionally and unintentionally. May we go through the day sharing our goodness with others, our goodwill. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings be peaceful. And may all beings be free. And may we contribute to that possibility. No sound. I turned the sound off to take my glass of water and forgot to turn it on. So I wanted to say that for those of you who joined at 7 o'clock, that for this week we're starting at 6:45 So we have 45 minutes sitting rather than 30 minutes. Partly so that it feels like after doing this early morning sitting since March, many of us are ready to sit longer, and also the teachings of Anapanasati that we've been doing, I think, will probably benefit a little bit with more sitting. And but if 7 o'clock works best for you, you're quite welcome to join then. Just know you're joining, and then as it's already started. So it's one of the, I think, wonderful things that simplicity is one of the hallmarks or one of the characteristics of this meditation practice. And sometimes that's not quite seen because sometimes teachers like me might give all kinds of instructions, and it might seem like there's a lot of instructions to keep in mind. A teacher I knew when I was in India named Munindra Ji. He was a student of many of the early Western practitioners of Vipassana. He had many wonderful sayings, and one of them was, if it's not simple, it's not Vipassana. And so the idea is to keep it simple. So how is it that this practice is simple? It's simple by relying on the simplicity of how we can be aware of something. And to be aware maybe in the simplest possible way. And for each of us, and in each of us at different times, what it means to be aware will be different. And so that is part of the fascination of it all, is to see how the what we call attention or awareness shifts and changes depending on how settled we are, how focused we are, and the kind of attention that's useful in any given moment. But the guideline is to always keep it simple. And partly that means not to be striving for it to be different, not to be trying to engineer your meditation to get it just right. It's partly means to not be trying to avoid experience and get away from something. It's not trying to overthink the experience or think our way into something and trying to figure out analytically even what's the right way. And it's also not trying to do too much at once. The idea is to be content with just being. Now, just being is not the end game of meditation, but it's kind of a reference point for keeping it simple. Rather than a lot of doing, there's a lot of being. And in that being, in the simplicity, to allow whatever the native awareness is, allows us to know that we're in the present moment, to be there and surface and show itself. Because the mind drifts off in thought a lot and is caught up in thought, that one of the things that many people find useful, and it's not necessarily useful for everyone, and then teachers can give other instructions, but is to the simplicity of breathing. And the breathing is kind of like the sometimes used like the anchor line or the tether or the support for staying in the present moment. Breathing is always in the present moment. It has a rhythm to it. It's not a fixed experience. It's a flowing or moving or changing experience. And there's something about attention following a moving, changing phenomena that makes it easier to be relaxed in the present moment. Kind of like if we're watching, we're sitting under a tree, relaxing in the shade of a warm day, watching maybe the river go by, and we're kind of just watching the ripples and the little wavelets and the currents just flow and flow. And we're not studying it intensely. We're just kind of allowing the experience to come. We see it maybe clearly. And there's something about that movement where the mind doesn't fixate on something, but just allows things to flow, keeps the eyes soft and relaxed and kind of moving along with it. That part of the reason why it can be very relaxing, and people can spend long periods of time just watching a river go by, or watching the waves on the beach come and go, or watch a fire just burn, and the changing patterns of the flames as we watch the little fire, the fireplace perhaps. And so it's that movement of breathing, the coming and going of the inhale, the coming and going of the exhale, that can work for some people, a very nice way of just keeping us in the present moment. And then, of course, for many of us, especially if you're starting, we start getting more complicated than we need to be, and part of simplicity is to relax around making it complicated. You don't hold up simplicity as something to strive for and to engineer but rather kind of take yourself as you are. In a certain way, meditation is a come as you are party. So come as you are and sit down and allow yourself to be how you are, and that allowing, and settle into it. And the art is not to let yourself be as you are and continue and have your thoughts galloping away, but to allow yourself to be as you are, and then really settle into the direct experience, the embodied, the living experience of how you are. So there's a turning of attention inward through the body. And what is the embodied experience of all this? What's the embodied experience of our mood, our emotional state, our mental state, our physical state? And because it's the simplicity of being has a lot to do with what our experience here and now in the present moment. The body is always in the present moment. The breathing is always in the present moment. So coming here and settling into it, and then as we settle into it, at some point, to tune it, become attuned to or align ourselves with the experience of breathing, and to be with that simply. Sometimes we're controlling the breath. Sometimes the breath feels tight and constricted or held in some ways, and not particularly comfortable. And so the experience of simplicity is just allow that to be, and breathe with that, breathe through it. Make room for it to be uncomfortable or controlled, because that making a room for, giving breathing room, is part of the way of keeping things simple and allowing something inside which is not yourself, your own engineering efforts, your own kind of mechanisms of trying to fix and change. Something inside of you will begin to unfold, begin to unwind, will begin to release, begin to kind of find itself. And so that's one of the things that in the principle of simplicity is trust the simplicity of just being with experience. Trust your experience if you're present for it, even if it's not necessarily ideal or comfortable or something. And then something within begins to open, unravel, relax on its own. There's a very strong momentum in our body, in our whole being, towards the release of tension, towards the release of holding and tension and pushing and pressure. And so part of this giving breathing room to ourselves and allowing things to be is in fact this movement towards allowing for this settling, this releasing, this freeing that can happen when we just keep showing up and being present. So maybe what I've said this morning now is already too complicated, so I apologize. But it's all kind of an effort to try to point to just being simple. And maybe the breathing can help you with that simplicity. Just be with the breathing. Trust the breathing. I like the expression, entrust yourself with breathing. And then it doesn't have to, it doesn't, maybe it doesn't look so sophisticated, it doesn't look so uh, wonderfully spiritual, but keep it simple. And in that simplicity of being with the experience, being with the simplicity of it, feeling the embodied experience of breathing, that something will begin to settle, something will begin to open, something will happen. That is the journey of meditation practice. So, so thank you all very much for today, and we'll continue these 45-minute sittings this week all the way through through Sunday, so 7 days, not just the weekday days. And for those of you who are available to come on the weekend, we'll continue. And may you have a wonderful day, and may the simplicity of meditation support you in giving the gift of simplicity to those people that you encounter today. Thank you.